For me, new music is just music made in the present. For some composers, new music with a capital N was a shorthand, or continues to be a shorthand for music that is forward thinking or on the vanguard. But especially these days, for me, I'm not really comfortable with the term. New music is new compared to what? Or on the vanguard of what? Simply put, new music is just music that's being made now, music that people make now. In my experience, it's the kind of music that is really gives me access as a performer and as a composer and as a researcher to current thinking. By and large, either include, acknowledge, or in some way react to everything that's come before. My own participation in it as a composer and as a performer on guitar, sometimes on mandolin, is really important to me because I never want to think of the current of music, of the Western music that I know, as stopping. For me, my own involvement in new music, and why I choose to continue to be involved in new music, because I want to try and stay with the current. I feel like being at the crest of that wave, at the top of that wave, where I always want to find myself asking, as a composer and a performer, okay, what next? What comes next? What if we try things in different ways? What if there's a composer, not here in Toronto, but in Tallinn or Ljubljana or Brno or Shanghai or Montevideo, that all of a sudden has an idea that we've never heard of up here, or I've never heard of personally. If they want to share that idea, I want to be part of that. A big part of my day when I'm not working, a big part of my composition day is research, is digging into a lot of books about visual art, about languages, about kind of the philosophy of art. I overwhelmingly prefer to work at a desk with pen and paper. I like the idea of taking responsibility for everything that I write down, everything that I mark onto a piece of paper. I worked at a computer until about 8 or 10 years ago, and the ease with which I could essentially censor myself, use the delete, use the backspace key so easily, and say, no, maybe it's not that, maybe it's this, and away it would go. Whereas I feel a lot more comfort in my pieces, a lot more confidence in my pieces, in writing by hand. I find I get the best results, the results I'm happiest with, at a desk, with pen and paper, with as few other auditory stimuli as possible. And a day of composing for me won't necessarily, or won't ever mean 8 hours or 10 hours. It'll be a bit here and a bit there. I'll compose a bit, then I walk, I'll compose a bit, run some errands, and it's over a course of weeks or months or sometimes years to get something finished in my current way of working, but it's the way in which I've found gets me the best results. Yeah, absolutely. I found walking in the neighborhood here in Midtown Toronto to be one of the most instructive and rewarding ways of getting ideas going. It helps a lot with the pacing of my pieces, often compared to common practice repertoire or much contemporary music of the mid-20th century. A lot of people have told me that the pace of my current music is quite slow, and I would tend to agree with them. I think a lot of that just comes from considering a pace of walking, a gentle pace of walking, and careful observing, as opposed to a piece that moves at the speed of a express train or at the speed of a Boeing 747. There's a group here in Toronto who last year did a performance of mine that was live streamed. They had to live stream the performance because of the pandemic. The Thin Edge New Music Collective. And during that live stream, they opened it up for live comments as the performance was going. And someone who tuned in, someone I don't know, during my piece, wrote the comment, "This is the sound of eternity." I'm still comfortable with this idea that my music is largely chamber music. It's largely quiet. It's largely sparse. Can encourage people to have an experience of just the sound itself, just the interminglings of the notes and the sounds and the timbres and the textures, without drawing too much attention towards outside worldly concerns. When people experience my music, a thing that keeps coming back and back that I hear is that your music made me think about the actual live experience itself, who I'm with, what the hall is like, what the music sounds like in that hall. Yes.
For the moment.
Yeah, I want to bring people into the moment with my music, most of all.